back to the Muppet vlogs. We are finally covering the season finale. We've been kind of like all over the place, and I was in Hawaii for a bit if you were watching my Twitters or whatever's, but we finally got together. We've already watched the episodes previously because like you can't wait for this kind of thing.
Right.
But we finally got together and watched them again, and we just kind of reviewed everything, and now we're finally going to give you our thoughts on the final 2 episodes. And in this one, we're just going to be covering number 15, which is generally Inhospitable. So, right off the bat, I thought this was a great way to at least end finale. I liked that we put Piggy in kind of like a vulnerable spot.
Very.
Yeah, where she has to go to the hospital. And you know, it's interesting too, right off the bat, I did notice that Kermit was like mentioning how Piggy is like strangely avert to like, you know, medical attention, even though she likes attention. Even I was kind of like, yeah, wait a minute, what's that about? But then we found out why in the end. Mm-hmm. And we find out that actually, kind of like gruesomely, that her history, in her history as a pig who grew up on a farm, I guess whenever a pig breaks a leg or breaks anything, I guess, they're kind of taken away, don't come back. Yeah,
they went all Animal Farm on that one.
Yeah, they did actually, and I did like that, and it was really sad, and it made it, at least it definitely made me feel for her in that it was like, oh no, I really want her to like feel better, and I really want her to not feel so terrible. And yay Kermit for coming through and being like, never mind, we're gonna make your show happen tonight here in the hospital.
Even when she's all doped up.
Oh my god. That was so funny. Like when, well, first of all, when they were mentioning, oh no, that's not the call button, that's the morphine, I was like,
oh no.
Oh no. And same thing, like when I was actually watching it with my family, and everybody cracked up laughing when that part happened, when she was like, wee! And I was just like, oh my god, she's gone. She's gone. And hilarity ensues. And I loved that concept, and I love that. Well, first of all, it was also kind of predictable in the beginning how Kermit was like, man, I sure am impressed with Piggy lately. You know, I was just like,
So this is happening.
So this is happening, exactly. It looks like we're gonna touch on this. And how basically he's seen how she's kind of grown as a person lately, and how she's just like changed a lot for the better ever since she went to Argentina. And basically ever since she said, oh, I'm over Kermit. Mm-hmm. According to her.
Basically.
Yeah. And, but I like that he still came through for her, even though she was trying so hard to be strong. And, so I don't know about you, I want to know your thoughts about this. I thought it was interesting how she has been growing as a person for the better, which is somewhat uncharacteristic of her, but at the same time, she is growing. Like, for example, when Kermit predicted she would end up throwing something at him when he told her the bad news that she wasn't going to be able to do the show, but then she ended up not doing it.
And that was his surprise.
Yeah. I guess I'd like to know from your opinion real quick first. What did you think about that? She's doing something uncharacteristic and new, but in a good way, even though we're used to her being such a hysterical, you know, person.
Yeah, I like it because she is still staying true to her hysterical, ridiculous self. Mm-hmm. But this is also the Muppets being grown-ups. Mm-hmm. And, like, in the past, yes, they are still adults in their own ways.
Yeah.
In this show, they're really adult.
Yeah.
In every way. And a part of that to me is that they are able to grow and, you know, make mature adult decisions and reactions.
Yeah. And
so I like that they took it in that direction with Piggy.
I did too. And I'll have to write a whole review, like video about like my review of the whole series as a whole. I guess as something that I personally love about the show, and I've talked about this several times, but what I love about it is that we're seeing these characters kind of in a new light, but at the same time being in character, but just kind of seeing them like in the situation of like what they would do if they were like people like us. Mm-hmm. You know, I don't know, I think that a lot of people may have like, maybe that's why they got turned off by the show, but me personally, that's why I love watching it, because I love seeing these characters like, what if they were my friends? And like we saw them in the same way that, you know, we do things, like they have to go to the hospital, they go out and get drinks, and they throw parties and have relationship issues and all that good stuff.
And make terrible work decisions.
Exactly. And going back to how they're doing the whole, you know, reboot and bringing in more joy to the show, now, you know, Kermit came through also and again helped Piggy, you know, because we've seen throughout, you know, for the most part through this series, especially in the later episodes, that Kermit still clearly cares for her and wants to help her.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. So I mean, I was thoroughly impressed by it, and I like that. Again, and you're right, she's still being hysterical, but at the same time, she's just being a little bit more calm, and Kermit seeing a change would grow within her, to the point where we're like, yeah, maybe these two could work out.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then the other story was Pache.
Pache Pizza, man.
Pache Pizza! And, okay, so I also personally kind of predicted that this was going to be the episode where he was out. Like, even before the episode started, I was like, this is the character who's going to come in, they're going to do something to come against him, and then he's going to go bye-bye before the end of the season.
Okay.
I mean, that's kind of like what I thought. It was a little predictable, and I understand what they did with him, but at the same time, I'm like, it kind of happened kind of quickly.
Yeah, I thought he'd kind of be around a little more next season.
Yeah.
And then, like, they'd deal with the issue and he'd be gone.
Then he'd be gone.
Or he'd at least be a better person.
Yeah. And, you know, we can dive more into this when we go talk about the next episode, but one thing that, I mean, I totally see the arc that they went with, especially, like, in the last 6 episodes, but I feel like everything that's happened emotionally and like with whatever antagonist they're fighting against, I kind of feel like everything that happened in 1 season should have happened at minimum 2 seasons.
It did happen fast.
It did happen kind of fast.
Yeah.
But at the same time, if you are a fan and you understand what probably the series is going through, where they weren't 100% sure if they were going to get renewed, especially with like all of the interesting reaction that's been from the public, they may not have known that they were going to get renewed.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, I understand. And again, we'll have to talk about the whole Kermit Piggy thing when we go to the next episode. But for right now, exactly like I was saying, like with Pache, they were kind of like, okay, we got a villain, let's make sure that he's kind of like the negative to their positive and does something for the Muppets to come against each other, and then we'll just kind of get rid of him at the end. So he was a good character.
He was so annoying.
He was really annoying at the same time.
In a very realistic way.
Yeah, and you know what, also, as someone who has worked in Hollywood and has worked at a talent agency and everything, like, he's kind of sort of true to, like, what Hollywood does to branding.
He exists.
He does very much exist.
God. Yeah, he's real, guys. This happens.
Yeah, I think we both know from experience. So there's definitely people like him out there who are very much like, I know what's in the in and out, and I'm gonna make things even better than it already is, and it doesn't always work that way.
It never works that way.
Yeah, not so much all the time, but it's just, again, unfortunate, because I wish we could have learned a little bit more about like him and like how he does things, and could have seen the Muppets kind of come more out on top, you know, to come against him and all that sort of good stuff.
Yeah, but I like what they did.
Yeah, but I mean, I like what they did. It's just, again, it was just, unfortunately, it was a little too predictable, but at the same time, I mean, I liked that they kind of like locked him in a room, and then Sweetums had to go and have a sweet talk with him.
Oh, it was so great.
Yeah.
So good. Oh my god.
Yeah. And I thought it was, I love the joke too, when Pache like admitted that he was chubby as a kid, and then Sweetums was like, believe it or not, I used to be big too.
It's like, really, Sweetums?
Really?
You don't say. You big?
You bigger than you already are, because he's like one of the biggest Muppets.
Yeah.
Yeah. And also have to give super credit for them bringing back Veterinarian's Hospital. And it's too bad, unfortunately, that Piggy couldn't be in on that sketch too. But I love that they were bringing in, like, again, just the puns, and they brought Ralph back. And I love also that even Scooter was like, look, we're trending, hashtag Ralph is back. And just, you'd think that would have been something like recent, like, yeah, Ralph is back. He should have been trending on Twitter at some point. You know, because they need more Ralph. They need more Ralph.
Ralph is so good.
Yeah, he's a great character. And I hope that if this series does continue, that maybe they will bring him back onto the show to do more sketches.
Oh, I hope so.
Yeah. And, I mean, I thought the episode was pretty funny. I'm trying to go back through it again to just remember every single thing that happened. Again, it was interesting to see also what I did like about at the very end, after they had like kind of closed off the episode and Kermit and Piggy were having a moment together. I loved that the puppetry on Kermit was great, because you could see that he was worried about her. Like, it's always really nerve-wracking when you have a friend or a family member who's going, you know, going under for surgery, which is exactly what was happening with Piggy. And I think that if you, like, you're a big supporter of Piggy and Kermit, or like any couple, that's like the moment you really want to see them in, is like, even if they don't know whether or not they have feelings for each other, it's like one is in a really vulnerable place and the other one like is worried about them. And it just made my heart just swell when I saw that part.
It was really cute.
Yeah, and I loved, you know, again, she was totally doped up, and she was just like, I love you, Kermit, and then, I love you, hand sanitizer, and giraffe, or whatever. But it made Kermit have to come out and say, like, I love her too.
And yeah, in such a big way.
Yeah.
Because, like, she said it, she didn't remember she said it, but she said it.
Yeah.
And his response was like, oh yeah, even though she's up on dopamine or whatever she's up on,
anesthesia.
And yeah, she's on everything. She's on everything, guys.
Yes. Yeah.
So even though she's all doped up right now, she totally means it right now in this moment.
Yeah.
So I have to say it too.
Yeah.
Because she's coming clean even if she doesn't mean to.
Yeah.
And so he says it, and then turns out she's just kind of saying that to everything.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. But, oh, and also, anyway, so to close that up, that moment was great, and I loved that. It's too bad they couldn't have had the next episode the next week, because that would have been like a great cliffhanger for the next episode.
Yes.
Because we got like right after, and I know why, because basically the next week after they were going to start a new TV show, so it's unfortunate that they had to put those together, but it would have been a great cliffhanger for the next episode.
It would have been so good.
I mean, it would have been, like, I could just see, you know, even people online be like, oh my god, Kermit said I love you, what's gonna happen next? Ah!
And the biggest thing with that is that they caught it on film.
I know. Yeah. Within the TV show, they caught it on film, and the camera was still on. That was really cute. I love that the reaction of the Muppets was like our reaction, like, oh, he just said he loves her. That's so cute. Yeah. Also, I have to mention the celebrity. Willie Nelson was wonderful.
He was great.
I love Willie Nelson. And you know what's funny is I did not know this, but that song On the Road Again, that's actually a Willie Nelson song. I didn't know that, but that's like a trademark song of his. Yeah. And I loved that when he was singing with the Muppets, that was a very Muppet Show kind of moment.
It really was.
Yeah, with all the Muppets like singing around him, and just, especially like just that kind of country type kind of song. Like, we're very used to hearing that kind of stuff on the Muppet Show. They did that a lot.
And by the way, Willie Nelson rocked it. Like, all these years later, still doing it just as well.
Oh gosh, yeah. He's incredible. He's amazing. I love Willie Nelson. I've always been a big fan of his. Oh, and also, I don't know if you caught it or not, but there was a great joke where he said, I think he told Piggy, looks like you need some cheering up, and she said, I think we're both happy enough. It's like, happy, I've discovered, is like the code word for just being high with the Muppets. Yep. And I love that they keep bringing that up. I think it's, just all of the adult humor in this show, especially in like the later later episodes, like, I love how subtle it is. Like, it's not in your face too much. And maybe at the beginning it was a little bit, but now it's like really subtle, and I love it.
Yes, like at the beginning they were definitely like, here's the kind of show this is gonna be, guys. There will be adult humor. Yeah. We're shoving this in your face so you know right now, like, if your kids are watching, this is what's gonna be happening, so you gotta know. Yeah. And then they kind of cut back on it, and they were like, alright, we're gonna be subtle. It's here. People are on drugs, guys. And, like, sex is a thing, and, like, everything adult is in this show.
We're just not going to sugarcoat it, but at the same time, just kind of, again.
We're not going to make a spectacle of it.
Exactly, exactly. That's what I really loved about this. It's, you know, a lot of times when you make a show or a franchise more adult, that doesn't always mean throwing in the sex jokes. Sometimes it just means the undertones or putting more highlights on the relationship. And I think that for the most part, this show has done a pretty good job at that.
Yeah, especially later. They're like, we're not going to, like, we're not going to force any of this, but we're also not going to hold it back.
Yeah, exactly. And I especially like that in some ways they didn't hold it back, especially one of my favorite episodes, which was Tale of Two Piggies, which was like, basically at the end with the climax, we're not holding this back, we're going to come through and we're going to do what we want, and we're going to, you know, put body shaming, you know, down, you know, basically. Like, that's kind of what they did with that. That was the good kind of in-your-face stuff that we want. Yeah. You know, basically putting like a big middle finger to the haters. Yeah. So, that I like. And again, same thing with this episode. It was just all around great. I mean, you know, I wasn't too big with like, Deadly and the whole like, Piggy, look at the snacks. Cause it's like, okay, yeah. There's so many times in the show, actually, where I feel like, yeah, I get it. She likes to eat, and she's kind of overweight, and she, like, is vain. I get it. Let's move on with that, please.
Actually, I liked that part.
You did?
Yeah, because he was using something we all know about Piggy to distract her. That was him being a good friend by distracting her from what's gonna happen and trying to keep her busy while they check her in.
Well, that's a good point. I mean, like, and that's what friends do, you know, especially like a friend like Dudley. It's just like,
exactly,
you know,
because he is a good friend. He, like, no matter what her interests are, he would have said something. Like, if he had a jeweled necklace on him, who'd been like, look at the shiny, look at the shiny, look at this pretty thing I have right here. But because what was there was the snacks, he was like, well, that's an interest of hers.
Yeah, that's how we're gonna lure her into the hospital.
Yeah, so it's like, okay, Kermit, go, do the thing. Piggy, snacks, look at the snacks, they're right there.
Yeah, I see your point.
Yeah, so that was just him being a good friend.
Yeah, trying to help her out. And, I mean, that feels like it was kind of, yeah, it was just, again, an overall good way. The only, I guess, my only complaints was the thing with the villain was too predictable, and great cliffhanger, just should have waited another week for the episode.
I agree.
You know, but other than that, it was really good. And I think that from what I saw online, it was like a pretty overall favorite of a lot of fans, basically of like all the episodes. I think Going Gonzo was like the #1 favorite, but this is like up there in like the top 3.
Yeah, because on top of the other stuff that we've been talking about, like the Pache stuff was really good.
It was. It's just unfortunate that it just felt rushed.
Yeah, it really did. I loved, oh my god, I always forget her name, Rizzo's love interest.
Yolanda.
Yes, I love Yolanda's impressions.
Yes,
like, the fact that her impressions played a huge part in getting Pache gone.
Yeah, that's right, that's right. And she was like talking to Kermit and...
And by the way, let's note here that through all of this, the Muppets still are not, like, malicious. They're getting rid of Pache was reuniting him with his dad.
That's right.
Like, it was not a bad thing. It was not them being mean or tricking him or anything. Like, it was legit helping him.
Yeah, yeah. But at the same time, they were probably like, you know, under those little devilish heads, they were probably like, but this will get rid of him. But at the same time, you are absolutely right. They did it in a way that would help that character.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you're absolutely right. Yeah, the Muppets are kind-hearted characters in the end.
Yeah. Even if they can be, you know, not the nicest people to each other at times.
Not always. But you know what? It's unfortunate that so many people were like, oh my god, I can't believe that like Kermit's being such a jerk, like especially at the beginning of the series, and I sympathize with that a little bit, but at the same time it's like, did anybody watch the Muppet Show? People were jerks to each other all the time.
Yeah.
You know?
And they are jerks to each other, but they do it from a place of love.
Yes, exactly. I think maybe that's where some people were coming from, but you're absolutely right. When it comes from a place of love, then it works.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think that kind of sums the episode up. We're gonna go watch the final episode now, and we'll be back for the next vlog to finally do the last one. So we'll see you guys on the next video. Mwah! Bye!